Did you like your life in college?
Yes and no. I had one of the most low parts of my life in college.
So you also went through depression and anxiety.
If you've gone through that phase and just gone through it, ho gaya, it's over. For me, in my head, I don't see my practical life and my work life and my personal life as separate things. It is such an integral part of everything that I am. So like give me 1 year and something doesn't work out within this 1 year, I will go back to either architecture or do masters or do something. For 1.5 years, I kept doing that again and again and again each and every day. When people also say I want to quit my job and do social media but don't quit your job.
Yeah, nothing happens like this. It takes a tremendous amount of time and resources and investments to make that one video that you might just scroll and see bekar hai.
A lot of effort goes into it.
Who was Rishabh before BlessedArch?
Good question.
Hi everyone, this is Architect Utsav Kamboj and welcome to another episode of High on Design podcast. Today I have with me Rishabh BlessedArch. You guys know him as BlessedArch, and I just invited him and he was kind enough to say yes instantly and drop by here to shoot this episode with me. This conversation is just two friends talking, ranting about stuff, talking about content creation journey, talking about blessings and hard work and making our way through one of the most the word I would want to use is uncharted territories, where we did not know what we were doing but we still had faith and we kept going and going and going, and that is how he's become what he's become. So for all of you who love him for his work, all of you who followed him for his work, this episode tells you exactly he is, what he is, and how he's become who he is today. This has been the most simplest conversation to roll for me. Honestly, I feel like मुझे तो मेहनत ही नहीं करनी पड़ रही. We have known each other for how long? I think
Been quite a while.
yeah,
When
3
did
years.
we first get in
3
touch?
years? No,
More than
we
that.
got in touch. I think almost 5 years back.
Yeah.
But we have been-
2020 around
Yeah.
is when we got in touch.
Yeah,
We met much later
yeah.
when I had come to Gurgaon, much later. That is, by the way, it happens with a lot of my friends. I've known them online for quite a while. And then I meet them in person and we're just talking for hours, which we also did.
Yes, and I think that is one of the things that I really appreciate about you is you're a non-maintenance person.
True.
You're not like कि हाँ मुझे बात करो, मुझे text करो, नहीं. You're like हाँ ठीक है.
2 साल बाद मिलेंगे, 4 घंटे बातें करेंगे.
Yeah. And those are the kind of friendships that I have with all my friends.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate people who are like कि ठीक है, we'll meet again and we'll be just the same kind of people.
Yeah. I mean, because you could expect that when you were in college, like talking every day and being in constant touch. But you understand, now when you start working yourself, you understand that it takes so much of your time. And there are so many things in life that you do that you want to do. And this doesn't mean that you don't appreciate the other people that are in your life. It's just that you can't be in constant touch. And when you get in touch with them, at that time you spend quality time together. That has become my mindset over there. Like the time you spend together may not be that much, but it should be like really good.
Yeah. I wanted to know one thing from you, and I've always forgotten to ask this question, even over the years.
Yeah.
Who was Rishabh before BlessedArch?
It's a good question.
I know. Take your time. Think about it.
I chose the name BlessedArch and I started my YouTube channel back in 2014.
Why blessed?
Oh, that is a good story. And it's not really good, but it is good to what it has turned out today. So I chose blessed just because of the fact that I felt blessed in the sense that there was a lot, and I chose it very naively. Like I wanted to choose a witty name, and blessed felt like, I do feel blessed with a lot of things I have in life, and the arc part was, of course, architecture of it. I think over the years, the name BlessedArch has become even more important for me and whenever I point this out, people point out to me, but you work so hard for it. But I also acknowledge that even though I've worked really hard for it, what I have right now is also because of grace.
Yeah.
is also because of the opportunities that come to me.
Just because you're blessed doesn't mean you will not have to work hard
Yeah,
for
of
it.
course. I mean, Oprah Winfrey has this definition of luck. It's
Mm.
preparation meeting opportunity.
Yeah.
So, the thing that is in your hand is preparation, which, I mean, everybody needs to do, which I try to do as much as I can. The opportunity comes, and the opportunity is grace.
Did you like your life in college?
Yes and no. I think I had one of the most low parts of my life in college. Um, I think that also happens because you're in this bubble and you think life is just in that bubble. Because if you, especially like me, if you stayed in the hostel, I stayed for 3 years in the hostel, even though my college and my place of residence both are in Jaipur. Um, so when you stay in that close knit bubble, you tend to exaggerate everything there is. You think this is it, this is the world, which it is not. You understand that after you graduate. So at that time, it's very easy to get into a cycle of anxiety, depression, and also because architecture is such a field where you're not taking care of how you're sleeping, how you're eating, you're having loads of coffee. So all of that, people don't realize how much toll all of this can take on your nervous system, which I do now, which is now I sleep quite well. If nothing else, I sleep well.
So you also went through depression and anxiety a lot. Yeah.
And if you've gone through it the right way, I feel like people who come out of it properly and then appreciate everything that they have, and they also cling to their habits a little strongly, because they understand if they let go of all of this, you can slide back. Anybody can slide back. It's not like if you've gone through that phase and just gone through it, ho gaya, it's over. You can anytime slide back. And and when I say habits, I mean eating mindfully. I mean sleeping well, exercising every time. These physical things that you do in life, people don't understand the impact all of this can have on your mental health, on your nervous system.
How about drawing boundaries between work and between practicality and passion?
I don't think I ever thought about that. Because I don't think I have any boundaries. I think my entire life at this point of time does revolve around my passion. Does revolve around creating BlessedArch, and that is what gets me to go on these adventures, and even meeting new people, making new. I do all of that through BlessedArch. So for me, in my head, I don't see my practical life and my work life and my personal life as separate things, because it is such an integral part of everything that I am. I mean, of course, there's time. There's time where there are zones that I go in that is full work. There are zones that I go in that is full break. कुछ नहीं करना. Family time.
Guilty factor आता है जब break लेते हो?
Guilty factor. This I was discussing with the other creators also yesterday. I think it's a lack of dopamine. Like after 4 days or 5 days, you've not put up something and you've not gotten a lot of views on it. And then you're like, I need to. So this could also just be a problem, by the way, that I don't have a work-life balance. And it might just be a dopamine addiction to post and to instantly get those views and to instantly get those likes and everything. You become immune to it over time, honestly.
But you don't let yourself get into the direction of validation. See, dopamine is different, right? It's getting the result of what the input that you put in.
Yeah.
But validation is something like people are actually, whatever people are saying and thinking about you, that greatly impacts how you want to perceive or how you want to put your voice out.
No, I don't think, it translates into that strongly for me. I wouldn't say it doesn't at all. That would be lying. And to outright just sit here and say I don't care what people think or at all or say at all, I would be completely lying. This is why fundamentally why BlessedArch is a very educational channel. I do care about portraying things in a very educational way, in a way. I do think there are certain directions that content can take that are much nicer than, let's say, I could do cringe videos with the buildings also that I do. that is also a direction, and there's no judgment there, but that is just not what I want to do. And that is just not how I want to be perceived. So even when I take a direction with my content, it is about how it will be perceived as well. And that is why when I talk about things, I talk about them in a way that inspires somebody.
You're telling a story, you're blending stories with architecture.
So I mean, I want to do it that way because I understand the impression that your content can leave on people as well. So you do care about how people are seeing your content, how people are perceiving your content, which is lovely. But yeah, I won't say it's a validation addiction, but it is a dopamine addiction. It's because it's honestly as simple as if I do a reel that is for me really nicely made, but it's not really doing well, the next day I would be thinking about now what I need, like a viral idea, because I need to. For me, it just feels like, oh, what happened? What went wrong? Let's center back to it. So in my head, it feels like when you're creating content, and when I'm creating content with certain ideas and everything that I've learned, I kind of have understood what my audience likes. I kind of have understood how it works and how to make it go viral. So why didn't it? So then the next day I try again. I mean, all you can do is try again, try. If it happens 5 days in a row, I will take a break. I'll be like, let's regroup. Let's take a complete day off. Let's eat fries and let's regroup on this entire thing. And then I will come at it again. But over the time, you become used to sort of going at it again and again and again. That happens. But yeah, it's a dopamine thing.
Wonderful. And you're a full-time content creator, correct?
I'm a full-time content creator.
Yeah. So content, YouTube, Instagram, short-form videos, long-form videos, case studies, that's what gets you going every morning.
Yes.
Yeah. And you started in 2014, right? When you were in college.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen that content.
It's private. How did you see it?
पहले देखा था.
फिर ठीक है.
हाँ, पहले देखा था.
It won't be available to anybody now.
नहीं, I think I saw it around 2019 or something.
हाँ, तब तक होगा.
तब तक तो था 2019-20. I've seen. उसके बाद नहीं देखा है. And a lot of things changed, right? Your approach to storytelling changed. I think you've grown a lot also with spirituality.
Yeah.
That older version of Rishabh is sort of, it's just shed out like skin. And this newer version of Rishabh is I have seen that significant change in you in the last 3 years, right? I knew you were doing all of these practices and you were doing so much more than me. I know right now it's on and off, but you were doing so much more than me. And it has sort of, do you feel that it got you so much clarity and that clarity is now reflected in your work?
I don't know if it got me clarity. I'd be very honest. I'm confused about a lot of things in my life. I still am. What I will tell you is, and I don't know how it happens, but it used to happen since I've started creating content. And whenever I used to create something that I really loved, I just went in a zone and I created that. And the idea used to come to me and then I used to create it. And it kind of used to do well. Then also I used to force myself ki chalo, let's force myself to get ideas out, force myself to try something. Of late, when I've been doing those practices, that by the way, whenever I force myself, it did not work out that well. So whenever it comes to me, it works out well. And the more I've been doing my practices, the more I've been leaning into spirituality. That what they call the flow state, where the ideas are just coming. I think that is happening
through you.
Yeah, that is happening more and more and more. So I still don't think there's clarity. But I feel like after every step I take, the next one shines. So I know where to take the next step. And that is all the clarity that I have. People ask me, what's your plan 5 years down the line? What's your plan 10 years down the line? And it's not like I have none. But I kind of also know they would not happen. Because I feel like the direction it would take might just be completely different, because 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I could not have planned to come to where I am today.
Yeah.
No matter how much I thought through it. So it might not be a wise strategy, but it somehow works out that after a step I take, the next one comes. The next one comes beyond that. So it has just humbled me to be a little more patient in life.
When you started back in 2014, right? What was the idea behind that? Starting BlessedArch. What did you want to tell to the world?
Nothing. I just wanted to have fun.
You just wanted to have fun.
Yeah. Because if you look at my 2014 videos, which you won't be able to because they're private.
प्लीज यार मेरे को ऐसे ही दिखा देना, मैं किसी के साथ शेयर नहीं
मैं शायद डिलीट भी कर दी हूँ honestly.
मेरी पहले की जो वीडियोस थी तो उसमें मैं ऐसे ऐसे कर रही थी.
I was doing prank videos.
अच्छा.
It was nothing related to architecture. It was just pure fun. So I looked up to people like Lily Singh, Joey Graceffa.
Did you get mocked by your faculty for doing that?
Yeah. My faculty, family, friends, everybody.
Sabhi.
Yeah.
They mocked you.
Yeah. So initial videos, people used to mock me on that. Then I started making types of when teachers mocked me a lot, I created types of teachers in architecture school and I mocked them right back on social media. And some of them were really impressed by it. Some of them were really offended by it.
I love it.
In
when
hindsight,
teachers get offended.
Yeah. I still remember, I had created something called Parents versus Technology. So it was a video about how, older people struggle with technology, but a funny take on it. And the next day, one of my professors he just was laughing at it and everything. His wife was also a professor. And she was like, in front of the entire class, she was like, देखा मैंने वो video Rishabh. And I asked, कैसा लगा? तो she's like, मेरी tone से पता नहीं लग रहा आपको? and then I think somehow it was like, पता नहीं तुम्हारे parents को कैसा लगे? And I clapped back. I'm like, मेरे parents को तो बहुत अच्छा लगा. Like, I don't know what circumstances you have at home. I have a good relationship with my parents. I didn't say that.
But I hope they're watching it right now.
I mean, ultimately, it was a good relationship with the teacher also. But so when it started BlessedArch, it was just me having fun. And that is why the starting videos are very student centric. Because I was a student back then. I was just sharing my, my worldview. And that is what my content was about. As you said, it evolved over the years. I think it evolved over the years because of the fact that I have evolved. I am a very different person from what I was 10 years ago. And that is why when I am changing, of course, my content will also just evolve along the way.
Yeah, but you also worked in a couple of places, right?
Yes.
And so you did architecture to be able to practice architecture?
Yes. So that was the plan, of course, to practice architecture. And in Studio Art, it was the last place I worked as an architect. I mean, it wasn't even as an architect, I was an intern there. And they'd offered me a job. But that year, so Lily Singh had actually done this. Oh, this is actually a good story. Prerna ma'am is one of the reasons why I do what I do. Is because when we were having the farewell, in that farewell, everybody stood up and said something about everybody. Prerna ma'am stood up at the end and she spoke about all the interns first and then she spoke about me. And she just said, Rishabh, you have so much energy, but it's just in so many places. If you take all of that energy and put it in one place, you can really go ahead. And I think she meant architecture. But I was like, you know what, you're right. So I wanted to do something in the media space. And so Lily had done this with her father. She said, I'm going to take 1 year. Just give me 1 year. And if I can make something in that 1 year, let me try doing that. If I can't, I'll go for a master's.
So how was it when you broke the news at your home? I want to do this.
This is the exact words I said. I said, give me 1 year. So give me 1 year and if something doesn't work out within this 1 year, I will go back to either architecture or do masters to do something in the architecture field. So my dad agreed. And so I took this year. And that was the same year I was invited to go for the Venice Architecture Biennale 2018. So good things were still happening. But the year was about to end in 20 days. Because that much time elapsed, I still couldn't find a stable job or a means to make a living.
Yeah. Just make some revenue stream out of content creation. Yeah.
Because back then it was very limited. So there was this creator that I followed on Instagram, and he just posted a story saying that he's not with his previous company anymore and he'll keep his audience posted on wherever he goes next. And I just DM'd him. I said, I also want to be in the media space. So wherever you go next, I would love to sort of collaborate in any which way or anything. So we got to talking, and he said, what kind of content do you make? And this message was through my personal profile. So I sent him my work, like BlessedArch profile. I said, this is what I do. And he said, I might have something for you. This is 20 days before my deadline is ending, okay? I am full prepared. I am looking at colleges. I've started my applications. And his friend runs a company making accessories for motorcycles and motorcycle riders. He really likes my content. He contacts me and he says, I want you to join us and I want you to create what you're created for our company. I remember that interview which he took, and so Sid asked me, my boss Sid, he asking me about content and everything, and I just said, but Sid, you make stuff for motorcycles and motorcycle riders. I don't know anything about motorcycles. I don't ride motorcycles. I am scared of riding motorcycles. I told him I told him exactly how it is, and he said, don't worry, you do content, we'll teach you motorcycles. I was like, fine. He offered me a job within 3-4 days, and I had a job from the very next month. When the year ended is when my job was supposed to begin. And by the way, when he said that, don't worry, you do content and don't worry about motorcycles, the very first shoot that we did, I was sitting on back of a motorcycle facing the other way with a gimbal in my hand for the first time, and gimbals are heavy, and I was bending down while this bike is moving forward to shoot another bike, and I was just scared. But that job really pushed me because Sid was very particular about things, and he wanted me to try things, achieve things which I didn't know how at all. So I used to try them. They used to work out, they didn't work out. He said, this is not good enough. So then we used to try again and again. And I think working there is what pushed me better and better into creating content that I do today, is because of those. We did not release a video for a month because he didn't like the font in the title. So we used to just go every day to come up with a new font.
I feel like hitting my head in the wall.
But honestly, that level of detail that he used to strive for really helped me create the content that I do today. And that is why I say Prerna is a big part of what I do, is because all of this started from that farewell speech that she did.
Just installed an idea in your head.
Yeah. And technically I was working for Studio Ardent for a little while in that year also, creating content for Studio Ardent. And they were really excited for the content that I was
Tea with RD.
Tea with Ardent. So like if you go, you can still find on their YouTube channel, which was a very fun video that we created back then. So yeah.
They always mention that video every time your conversation comes up.
That was a fun video.
Tea with RD. So I think one of the things that happens with creative people is we always want to keep doing something. Even as architects, एक project शुरू हो गया, बैठा नहीं जाता हमसे.
Yeah.
We want to just like being challenged all the time, trying new things and stuff. With content creation, it's like a very constant thing. You're constantly challenged, you're constantly doing new things. And it's all about, of course, it's about how people perceive you, but then it's also about putting your voice.
Yeah.
And it's not like a client is paying you to do that. It's only when brands pay you to do that, which is very limited and very selective. But apart from that, I think there's a lot of joy in this, but there's also a lot of hard work in this. I tell this to people, it takes a tremendous amount of time and resources and investments to make that one video that you might just scroll and see bekar hai.
Yeah. So, honestly, a lot of effort goes into it, and all of my friends also know. All of my friends also know the time I will get free. So, whenever they call me, they know so nowadays I start posting at 10 p.m.
Acha.
Yeah, and it works for some reason. And also, but one of the things is because I am so lazy and last minute in my approach towards things, I will start at 8 p.m. for that 10 p.m. wala video. And my friends would call me up and they know I'm working and they'll be like, 10:30 we're coming to your place and then we'll go out because before that we know you're not free. So, it is, but that is because 8 to 10 I'm working on that one video. The rest of the day I'm actually working on scripts, I'm researching, I'm constantly planning my travel itineraries, I'm planning the next YouTube video. Um People don't realize all these things that come with a business also comes here. So you're constantly either in touch with a patent thing, we're constantly in touch with like accounts, all of that, and which I used to hate, but now I've come to realize it's just a natural part of doing what you do, and any business would have it. So I have become, and my dad has helped me through all of
So
this.
many operations and logistics behind content creation.
So I mean, today I was doing a shoot with of an office, Atre Associates, and that video will come out soon. So when you also plan such a video, all of this, the talk for this started 2 months ago.
And how do you plan these kind of things? How do you, plan the shoot and, visualize everything coming together?
So technically, before, I don't spend so much time. I used to before, but nowadays I do not spend so much time pre-shoot thinking about how the shoot will happen. If I've seen the photos of the spaces and I kind of like with this office, I'd seen the photos and I had seen what kind of spaces there are, which intrigued me, and that is why I went to that office to shoot it. With a lot of places, I might not even know what they look like, but in the moment, and that is what we're talking about, that is because I'm the one shooting, I'm the one scripting, I'm the one editing. While that is going on, I know how that content will shape up even while I'm shooting. And then while editing is when the 70% of my storytelling happens at the edit table. I've literally dragged my friends to like places and we shoot videos, b-rolls, everything, and then we do the speaking shots. We either do the speaking shots all together at the start or mostly all together at the end. And there have been literally times like, let's say, when I point towards a wall or I point towards the ceiling and I say, you see that? You see that thing right at the top? And cut. That is the entire video. And my friends are like, what about it? I'm like, that will happen in the edit. Because I know I'm going to edit that video.
Yeah.
So, so I think that also has developed over time by working on. And by the way, I used to be pathetic at shooting. Knew nothing about cameras, knew nothing about frames, knew nothing about making things aesthetic at all.
Still pathetic about shootings.
But over time, as I've been doing it more and more, one day people are coming up to me and telling me like, your frames are fantastic. Like, how do you find those frames? And in my mind, I'm like,
I've spent years.
No, but in my mind, it didn't even occur to me my frames are good. Because in my mind, I'm like, I was just looking at what looks good, and I've over time developed this habit of moving my camera, panning it, tilting it till I find the perfect look that I want, and then shooting at it and maybe going at it from different angles. Still, I'm satisfied with the entire look of the thing, which is just a habit that I've developed. Over time, I've realized that my shots have become much more aesthetic. But again, it was just doing it again and again and again that has actually led to this. So when people actually come up to me, so, when people talk about the content creation journey, like the journey, it's a long journey, and people talk about a lot of aspects of it, I say, just do it. Once you also start doing it, you would realize everything that goes into it, and you will just also get better with time. You will also realize that certain people do realize that they're not great at edits, so they hire somebody. I had hired somebody for my edits, but I also realized my edits are much better because I know what I specifically want to talk about. And so I can edit those videos much better with my voice.
That's true. Another editor, something that I have also faced, they cannot deliver what's in your head.
You have to find the right people, there needs to be synergy. It doesn't just come, which is why I still don't have a team. But this is an advice people give for teams also. Just get a team and you'll get better with time. The same advice that I am giving people about let's say camera angles. But hopefully I'll get there soon. I hopefully I'll be able to let go of the reins of things.
I have so many things to say about this, but I should not. Yeah. I think it's better you find your own way on your own.
I mean, yeah, and everybody's journey is very different.
Yeah.
You can, of course, take advice, and one of the things I'm really thankful that I connected with you when I did, and then connected with the rest of the creators also when I did, because it really helped me in my journey of understanding what I do as a business also. Because I have always looked at it as just content, and I still do. I really think about my content. I really think about storytelling. That is my forte. Um, Thinking about it in a business perspective might not always be. I might not be the best businessman out there. But over time, it has gotten better. It's just because of the connection that I made, the conversations that I've had. And that is why I'm always thankful. When you ask about mentors, also, the people I keep meeting and connecting with, and then everybody keeps adding a piece of wisdom to create this final puzzle that we're seeing today. Um, so, yeah, it is. That is why I'm very thankful for connecting with you, and then through you also connecting with all the other creators out there.
Yeah, I think the conversations we've had together sort of built up a lot of things.
Yeah.
I remember sharing a lot of things with you because honestly, when I started, I did not start off to become a content creator. I wanted to educate.
Mm.
And when I broke this news with my parents, they did not understand what I was saying. It was a very weird synergy in the house. Like, okay, ये masters करके आ चुकी है, ये अच्छे वाले projects कर रही है, क्या क्या करना चाहती है अभी? And they get very doubtful about you. कि maybe she's just, maybe you can't just, stick to one thing.
Yeah.
So and it did take some time for things. I mean, everything went back like very, you know my story, and then it went up, and then धीरे धीरे करके the graph went up, and then everybody was like, oh, ऐसा भी होता है.
Same. I think
Yeah.
because I had a lot of pushback, not just from my parents, but like fam. I remember there was this intervention that happened at my house.
Oh God.
My puas are there, my cousins are there. And this was before, while I was taking the job at Trip Machine Company, the Sid where he was my boss. And they sat on an intervention. They were like, what will this job lead to? What are you thinking about the future? Like, why aren't you doing architecture? So there was a whole thing that happened. I finally was like, no, this is what I want to do. I also wanted to stay away from my home for a while because I knew that was important for my growth. So I did finally take that job, and this is one of the best things that I actually did. And today everybody has turned around. Today, my family I think they've turned around to be one of my biggest supporters. My dad would just go around telling people how many subscribers I have, and telling people I'm a YouTuber.
So
and sometimes
cute.
I'm just like, I'm at a doctor. I want to ask him questions about my recovery. And my dad in the middle of that is just talking about how I'm a YouTuber and how many subscribers that I have and how many people watch me. I'm like, Dad, wait, let me ask the actual questions you've come here to ask. So
No, this happens, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and I understand where that initial hesitation was also there because it's an unknown field.
Mm.
It has just come up within our lifetime. So so it wasn't even, they don't even know.
Pre-COVID, this was like a very
Yeah, it is after
unknown-
COVID
yeah.
when this has really blown up the creator economy.
Mm.
So it is fairly new. And I think the biggest thing in everybody's mind is, will it be able to sustain you monetarily?
Yeah.
Once that is satisfied, once they start seeing the numbers, and then they start being like, okay,
Now they're
if you
happy
can-
with your income.
yeah. Once they see the money coming in, and so I think that fear also then goes away. It's like he's not wasting his time. He's not just doing whatever. This is actually a sustaining business. So when they see that, they're happy. They're more than happy for you to be happy in what you're doing. Which I maybe I wasn't as compassionate about this, but like today I know where that initial fear was from, and today I know it has gone away because of whatever the circumstances are today. So I do understand that in hindsight. This is the kind of hindsight I have. This is the only time looking back is to understand patterns. and not like regretting things and stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's more about the peer pressure, especially when you graduate and there's just so much of stress of kya karna hai, kaise karna hai, and you have to have your entire life laid out of in front of you.
Yeah.
So that you are eligible to get a good spouse.
Yeah.
And all that, all that. And I think
Check
that
boxes.
is sort of.
This is a little conversation I've had with people in my family. I'm like, my life is not just a list of check boxes, and nobody's life is. And I have had.
Please don't frame me into that.
I've also had debates with my colony people, and like healthy debates. We're not fighting about it or anything. But I've literally spoken to one of the uncles in my colony, and I've said, you have lived your life the way you have lived, and you're really happy with your life. I'm living my life the way I'm living, and I'm happy with my life. I don't think there is one single way of living life. कि ये करना है, फिर ये करना है, फिर ये करना है, फिर ये करना है, फिर ये करना है. वो जो checklist चली आ रही है, I don't think that holds true for everybody, that this is exactly how you have to live, because you can live any which way you want. And that is why, for me, this whole premise of the time that you have to get married, the time that you have to finish this, and you have to finish this, and you have to get settled, and you have to do this, that doesn't make sense to me.
Financial clock, biological clock, this clock,
so
that
all
clock.
of that, I explained it to him that it doesn't make sense to me, because I am not agreeing with your premise. Your premise starts with the fact that this is how life is supposed to be. I have a counter premise that life has no, there is no supposed way to live life. That, and once you get done with that there's no one particular way to live life. Now all of the arguments that you're stacking on top of that premise, foundation to hil gaya. So none of those actually hold true. So now let's actually talk about what you're talking about. Sure, you want a spouse because you want a companion, because you want to spend your life with somebody, sure. But that doesn't mean the other person also wants it. Like, not the person you're marrying, but like people. please only marry people who want to marry you.
But is this, I mean, to all the people who are graduating this year, like 21, 22-year-old architects, fresher architects, what would you say to them? Especially people who have this sort of a hunter on them, कि फटाफट से नौकरी पकड़ो, फिर नौकरी करो, या फिर projects करो, और फिर marriageable age के हो जाओ, फिर शादी करो, फिर बच्चे करो, settle हो जाओ, and all of that. The pressure is real.
Yeah.
When your parents are specifically talking to you about it, like they're putting that thing on you.
Yeah.
And it is probably like a dinner table conversation every weekend, that what are you doing with your life? Just because they don't see it happening, they think that you're just hanging around doing nothing.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who's like 21, 22-year-old who probably does not even have that clarity कि मुझे करना है, and there's too much going on in their heads? They're still exploring कि architecture कर लिया, पर मुझे architecture से related कुछ करना ही नहीं, I don't like it anymore. What would you tell them?
One, I don't like to give out generic advice like this, just because of the fact that everybody's circumstances are very different. Now, I can give you an advice of saying, find something that you love doing and do that. Yeah, and it will take a while for you to get to the pay, but keep doing that. But if you have a family circumstance that requires you to have money now, if you have loans, if you have somebody in the hospital, if you have any of that happening, this advice will not hold true. So it would be I like to give advice which are very person based instead of something generic. But one thing that I do know in life is, if you do not enjoy doing what you're doing, irrespective of what it is, you're going to be miserable while working. You're going to be miserable while you're at home. You're going to be miserable while earning that money, and you're going to be miserable while paying those bills. So you really need to, if you have to continue with architecture, and that is, if you have to do it, in the sense that there is no other way out for you, and it is not something that you want to do. This is only in that case is not something that you want to do, but you have to do it. If you can find the joy within that, and because architecture is also a very vast field, you could go specifically into a particular niche within architecture.
Yeah.
You could, if you're great at renders, my friends have opened like visualization studios. Some of my friends who I used to talk when I was in Manipal, and I'm not practicing architecture. All three toppers from our class right now are not practicing architecture. The people who used to score the lowest are like one of the best architects out there. Honestly, because they can design, but they can also get things done. They love site work. They love getting things done on site. They love being in the grit of it and not just sitting in an office and designing. They love it. And they are great at it because they love it, irrespective of what they were constantly told in architecture school, that you're really bad at it, you won't be able to make it. And all three of us were being told you're amazing architects. Nobody's like you. Oh, ho, hamare pyare bacche.
Oh, you like this?
So, I mean, all of that doesn't hold true anymore, because in the real world, in the practical world, they're really doing it quite well. They're functioning quite well.
I think I would like to add something here, since I'm somebody who had to do something and then, find my way to come back to this. I think the best way to do is whatever you had to do as your day job, just do it.
Oh, yeah.
Just do it. But do not get stuck thinking this is how my life is going to end up. Use your nights, channel that energy, channel that entire day's frustration into doing something for yourself.
For sure.
And that is the only way you can really break that circle.
And this is, by the way, this is for people out there. When people ask me about social media also, I tell them very frankly, I did social media and I did content creation while I held another job. Yeah. For 1.5 years of my life while I was living in Gurgaon, I had zero social life, because 7 in the morning I used to be at my office. 1 in the morning I used to leave from that office because my system used to be at the office. So 10 to 7 was my office time. Before that and after that, I was doing BlessedArch and I was building BlessedArch. During that time, I was building Trip Machine Company and creating content for them. And for 1.5 years, I kept doing that again and again and again, each and every day.
I think, similar. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then in the night, I was doing this. Yeah.
So when people also say, I want to quit my job and do social media.
No.
Do social media, but don't quit your job. We had held jobs for that time. Yeah. You can't just quit everything and think social media overnight you will be a success. Even if you're an overnight success, building it into a sustainable business takes time.
Yeah.
This is like any other business out there. If you have financial backup, then you do anything.
Yeah. Then
if you have enough financial backup, then you don't need to do anything at all. You can chill. Yeah. And coming back to when you don't have enough resources, when you have a job and you want to do something else, that something else starts as a side hustle. And that something else starts as just dedicating a few hours of your day and doing your job for the rest of the day. And then slowly building on that more and more and more and more.
Yeah, nothing happens like this.
For sure.
I think that's the biggest myth about social media, about content creation, about the fame that people think comes with it.
People look at people who become overnight successes, but they're not looking that they've been trying for years, they've been creating for years.
The grind.
They've been crafting their content for years. Lily once said this about long back when she used to do YouTube, and she said, your one video goes viral. You might think you've made it. But unless you can sustain that growth over and over and over again, you would understand that you stand on a single pillar. It's not a foundation, it's a single pillar, and you can topple down anytime. If you want stability with what you're doing also, you need to build a foundation, not just one single pyre that goes really high.
Yeah.
It needs to be a whole foundation of work to stand on.
What was your first video that went viral?
Went viral? Yeah. What I consider viral was my interview with Mariana.
And how did that make you feel?
It was insane for the both of us. It was really insane. Till today, people recognize both of us from that video. I remember when I had gone to the Dubai Expo and randomly in a club, we met some architects, and one of the engineers from that group actually looked at me and he's like, you did that video on Zaha Hadid with Mariana? I was like, yes, I did. And he said, he loved the conversation. And because that video within 10 days had garnered 100k views on YouTube, horizontal format. I still haven't done it today. Like till date, I've not done it ever again. So it really went viral. And it was a great conversation. Me and Mariana have done many videos beyond that, but that was the first one that really went viral. We have done videos that have done even better than that one, but that was the first, and that is what in 2020 started the growth of.
It's not a small thing. 100,000.
It was insane.
On a YouTube video.
Honestly.
Yeah, which
I've
does not include any celebrities. Let me just clarify
yeah, at
that.
at that time nobody, both me and Mariana were not like very known people. Certain people knew us, certain people knew her through her work and everything, certain people knew me because of my content and everything, but it's not like both of us people knew. So getting that, and of course it was also hitting the right nail about the topic that we're talking about, which was getting a job at Zahadid Architects. And a lot of people had curiosity about it, but it's not like everybody had access to somebody who actually works at Zahadid Architects. So that opportunity presented itself, and the topic was such that people really were, um, they wanted to know more about it. And I think that is what got the video to what it did.
But okay, Zahadid architect aside,
Yeah.
what do you think about this whole job situation in India? The picture perfect portfolios, the hype around having the perfect portfolios, and getting those applications and finding the right office and all of that. What is your real opinion? Because I think we've done a portfolio review together.
Yeah.
Huh?
So I mean, I don't think there is any such thing as a perfect portfolio. Honestly, I don't. Um, I feel like portfolios should be a reflection of your work and what you can do. And that's different for everybody.
But do you think people actually, I mean, the people who are graduating out, do you think they know what they want to do?
They might not know what they want to do, but they have an idea about what their skills are. So in your portfolio is not just about what you want to do, but what your skills are. So, and this is not my advice for finding jobs, but this is my This is my advice for finding internships. And I tell them, go at the studio whose work you really like, whose work you really admire, because that is the work that is calling to you. That is the direction that you want to go in, and that is how I ended up at Studio Art Ed. So if you go in a direction that is calling to you, now the reason I give this advice for internships and not jobs is during internships I tell people, don't be that focused on stipends and how much you're getting, because it's 6 months. 6 months is nothing at all. 6 months, by the time you're leaving the office, when you actually learn something in the office, now you can actually start providing, like, contributing to that office in a meaningful way, but it's time for you to go. So during that time, of course, hopefully they're giving you enough to sort of sustain yourself. But beyond that, I tell people, at least for 6 months, because it's still time that you're studying, think about the work, think about what will add to your portfolio, think about what you want to learn, and go beyond that. Go for that. I would not advise it for jobs, because at that time, I do tell people also think about salaries. Also think about, because jobs are not just 6 months. They would be much longer. They're minimum a year, and it can go along to, let's say, at least for an average, it goes for 2.5, 3 years. Now, if you're staying away from your family for that amount of time, what is the pay that you'll be getting? How much will that pay increase over time? What is the cost of living in that city? I am from Jaipur. The cost of living is much lower than, let's say, Bombay. Insane. Right. So now when you're thinking of living there, you would have to think about your expenses that'll happen there, and not just calculate upon based on what you have it today.
Yeah.
So during jobs, you have to think about a lot of things. During internships, you have a little more leeway. Again, if you have an internship in Bombay, as I added the clause, hopefully the stipend is enough to sustain you. Don't think about saving, don't think about partying, don't think about a social life at all. If it is there to sustain you enough to live in that city, eat, not starve to death, and learn from that office in a meaningful way.
I think, to add to what you just said, the kind of office that you are interning in, that sort of builds the road for you.
Yeah.
And if you want X but you end up in a Y office, that could really cause destruction to your approach to design, architecture, or just the profession in general. You think so?
Yeah, because honestly, if you're really attracted to one way of designing and, certain buildings, certain offices, but you're not going for that, you're going for something else because they have a Now,
Every studio also has its own culture. Some studios are like very professional.
yeah,
Some are very laid back. Some
Yeah.
are very aggressive. Some
Yeah.
are very fun and chill.
Yeah.
And the kind of office that you go into, it sort of just sets that
for sure. But
precedence for you.
I would just say maybe a little more today because there's social media, so everybody likes to put forward a little bit of their behind the scenes also. But there's no way of knowing that what the work culture is before you actually apply.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only thing that you can see before applying is what their work is.
Yeah.
And that is the information that you go on. And that is why for internships, choosing is much easier because you can just go on the work. For jobs, there's a lot more research about the work culture, reach out to people, reach out to former employees, and they're all available on LinkedIn. They're available at a lot of places. It does require a little bit of research about getting to know the firm, getting to know the people before trying to go there. During internships, 6 months. Even if it's a bad work culture, but great work, you can learn within those 6 months and just leave and never come back.
You had 6 month internship?
I had a 6 months internship.
I had
So
a 1 year
technically it was
internship.
required was only I think 3.5 or 4 months, but I stayed there for 6 months.
I had a 1 year internship. It was the final year. It was either
We had a
internship or
full entire year.
entire year.
We
Yeah.
only had one semester worth of.
How many cities have you visited so far?
In India or outside India?
Outside India. Let's not talk about India.
Because the number will be huge. Outside India, I've not been to many. Should I also include the ones that I went to before architecture?
No.
Just like,
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Milan, Florence, Rome, Venice, Malaga, Sevilla.
बहुत घूमा है तू.
बहुत सारे वो पिछले साल में हुए हैं. This whole Malaga, Sevilla.
Last year, though, you were literally international for good few months.
I was just
on Instagram.
On 1 month. Content I kept putting, but like I had gone for only 1 month.
I was so jealous, but last year I couldn't go because of my surgery.
Yeah.
So I was so jealous that you were traveling to Milan and Venice. Gussa chada.
It was a nice trip, honestly. But also, I feel like I had not prepared myself well enough for that trip. Because I was having a lot of fun also.
Ever prepare yourself well enough for
No,
a
but
trip
now
to
I've
Italy?
learned from that trip of how to live a more balanced life even when you're traveling.
क्या मतलब फैल गए थे वहां जाके?
मैं फैल गया था, मैं कुछ भी खा रहा था. Even though I was walking that much, my eating was ridiculous. And there was no work happening at the time at all. So a lot of time, for 1 good month, there was barely any reels that came out on my profile, which also timed the reach and everything. So now, whenever I go somewhere, I know how to plan it in a sustained way. If I cannot at least do every day, at least taking out the time, like let's say one particular day I take out to just work, and then I can put out like 3-4 reels, which I can space them out a little bit till I can get to the next week. Eating right. One of the things is intermittent fasting. Is I don't want to leave it now, even when I'm traveling, because that would really help me, keeping that fasted state for a while to keep healthy enough as well.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions. It's
Sure.
like a fun banter sort of a thing, okay? And you only have 5 seconds to answer.
Okay.
Okay? A city you could live in forever.
Madrid.
One architect you would love to have chai with.
Dead or alive, दोनों चलेंगे. I don't know. Daniel Levesque. I want to talk about his designs.
Okay.
I have questions.
Okay. Your go-to snack while editing a reel.
Chips.
कौन से?
Lay's Blue.
How much time does it take for you to edit a reel?
It really depends on the reel. It can take me half an hour to 2.5, 3 hours sometimes for one single reel.
I think for me it's a standard of 1.5 hour total, including captions and everything. Okay, Revit or Rhino?
Rhino.
Most overrated city?
Overrated city? In India or abroad?
Abroad.
Venice. It's beautiful, but I feel like it has been so commercialized over the years. It feels like there are you enter the city, there's beautiful palaces and stuff, and then there's a board saying American cheeseburger here, which is the
Yeah.
weirdest thing to
And
me.
the canals smell so much. The
The
thinner
smell.
ones.
Yeah. But it's just like, so that city, again, it's beautiful, but I feel like so commercial nowadays and
Yeah.
so catering to American people.
Yeah.
There are bubble teas being sold in like random and they're playing Katy Perry. I'm walking through a Venetian street and you're playing Katy Perry. I'm not complaining. I can jam to
But
it.
not the right jam.
It's not the vibe.
I think the most overrated city is New York.
I've never been.
Okay. So, what about India?
Overrated?
You could have just said Goa.
Honestly, yes. Feels a little. Because, I mean, Goa is nice, but like not. And with all the problems that they're creating now, all the whole. It is just, maybe it's not worth it. Because you can have a lot, in the same amount of money that you would spend in Goa, you can have a lot better travel.
I have been to Goa 4 times and I've always ended up sick there. Not even once was I well enough to go to the beach.
Oh.
Okay. One reel that took you the longest to make. Not just edit, but conceptualize and make.
In December of 2023,
Mm.
I made a video on the Nakagin Capsule Tower. So the Nakagin Capsule Tower was a tower in Japan where it was in the Metabolis movement, where the apartments theoretically could be removed and a new apartment could be plugged into the building. So that was the whole concept. And it got demolished recently. So I wanted to showcase that concept. So I literally went around. My nephews did not have enough Legos. So I went around to all of his friends, and one of them had this big box filled with Legos, which I got home. And then I spent the next 3 days creating a whole Lego building such that, and I could not just stack Legos on top of each other because I wanted that thing to be facing outside so I can plug things in. So figuring it out structurally and then creating those blocks so that they can go into the building and then showcasing it to people like this is how the building functions. That took me a long time, did not do well at all, but like took me a really long time.
I think that's the funny
I had a
thing
lot
about
of fun
content.
doing it.
That's the funny thing about content. The reels that take the most effort don't work.
You know, one of my most viral reels, that is when I used to do funny and meme content also, is I had just, because this somebody at a wedding had shown me the guy who was serving things. He did this with paper napkins and a katori, and they just flowed into this beautiful pattern. And I'm like,
I've
wait.
seen that video.
Yeah, so I took that and I just did that, and that reel went viral. I'm like, new form finding ways for architects, and it went viral.
Yes. The simplest, like 10-second effort would go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Your guilty pleasure architecture content.
There is this creator who rates car parks.
Huh?
she just randomly stroll into a car park and she starts rating it out of 10, and she'll talk about, and there'll be a random bush, so she'll like, there's sustainability here because there's green growing. See, there is also they support animal life because there's a cat sitting right there. The most idiotic, but I love it. That one. And there's another person who just creates content just saying, going to showcasing beautiful places. Like, this is the Santorini island, but I think we can do better. And then he'll use AI to remove everything in that island and put like a big McDonald's there and put like a drive-through. And he's like, now we have saved it.
Hey Bhagwan.
So, you know, I really enjoy looking at those videos. And my feed is equal parts beautiful stuff, thought-provoking stuff, and equal parts just like, I feel like still intelligent a little bit, but like just funny content and random memes.
You need that. You need a dose of that.
This is my architecture account. My personal account is just memes. And it's just fun. And all day I'm just sitting, half the time I'm sitting sending reels to each other. It's a problem. It's a problem that I need to solve. But a lot of time, because this is how I sort of procrastinate. This is sort of how I take a break from work. I'll be editing. Okay, 2 minutes break. Reel. And for 10 minutes and now I'm watching reels only, I'm sending it to my friends and I'm like, oh, I have to work. Start working again. So this I do on my personal account, but my BlessedArch account, it's still very intellectual. It's funny, but it's intellectual, which I like.
Yeah. So, not going to ask you a 5-year, 10-year plan, but what's next? 6 months.
6 months traveling to a lot more cities, and there are a lot more planned. They literally shape up, the plans really shape up very fast at certain times. So traveling to a lot more cities, creating a lot more content, meeting a lot more people, meeting a lot more architects. And because traveling for content, I've started doing very recently. So it has taken me a while to get into the rhythm of it and to do it more formally, which I'm doing this year. So the next 6 months, you're going to see a lot more of that happening. And hopefully a lot more growth on my channel because of that. Just exploring different parts of India, exploring places outside.
Here's to 1 million.
Here's to 1 million.
Here's to 1 million by December 2025.
That would be lovely. Guys, please make it happen.
Yeah. See, I told you it will happen for you soon.
You had actually messaged me that. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. So, Rishabh, how was this conversation for you?
It was amazing. I just like talking.
Yeah.
And I like talking to you.
Oh my God.
So this was just that, honestly. I feel like because a lot of people who are not used to cameras, who are not used to talking, are so distracted by the lights, or so distracted by the cameras, and so conscious of the fact that they're being...
It's a fancy setup.
Yeah. And also they're so conscious because they're on camera. But when you're talking to a fellow creator who is very comfortable in front of a camera, for us, it's just a conversation. We were having a conversation behind the camera as well. And so this was...
the same kind of conversation we had at my home 3 years back.
Yes. Usually, if I'm not fed enough, I'm like...
अभी खिलाती तेरे को, चल तेरे को फ्राइज
मैं सुबह इतना
पेरी पेरी फ्राइज.
I would love that, honestly.
Yeah, दारू भी